Welcome to the Inland Sports Show here at Teen Vision TV 16. Jeff Gorham, I'm Pep Fernandez. We appreciate you tuning in live and amplified. We always try to go about 3 p.m. We're not very definite. We're about.
We're pretty darn close, though.
We are pretty darn close. Kickoff, right around 3 p.m. We appreciate you joining us again, live and amplified every Tuesday about 3 p.m. But online anytime on the Inland Sports Channel. Please hit that subscribe button for us. We'd really appreciate it as we do this every single week. Exclusive interviews, highlights, analysis, all the good stuff. And Jeff, the best part, only about Inland Empire sports. The only thing we care about.
That's what separates us from everyone else. Nobody does what we do, and we do it the best here in the Inland Empire.
In fact, we got a big-time basketball star on our set. In our next segment, we got Torrey San Antonio from the Rancho Verde High School in the house.
Oh, he's a stud. I'll tell you what, everybody in the Inland Empire, everybody outside of Southern California, everybody wants this guy. He's going to be a big-time player for years to come.
Oh, he's already a globetrotter. I mean, he's literally going around the world playing in international games. That's why you got him in studio, because he played for the Puerto Rican national team.
The national team. We're going to ask how they did in the World Games.
Oh, they did really well.
I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to Torrey in our next segment. A little bit farther down the show, we're going to preview the big RCC versus SBVC football game. It's Saturday night. You can watch it live on IEMG TV 3 and the IE Media Group YouTube channel. So that's Saturday night. We're going to preview that big rivalry game, Jeff. And also, we're going to talk Quakes baseball. They're playing for the Cal League Championship.
Hey, they're playing for the Cal League Championship. Right now, they have the best minor league record in the entire country. And they're playing for I think their third Cal League Championship.
Do you like surprises?
I love surprises.
Let's talk about surprises right now on the Inland Sports Show as we start with high school football, as we always do this time of year. The biggest surprises right now on the high school gridiron as we now go into week 4. So we're about 4 games into the season when you count week 0. The biggest surprises, we've got a short list, Jeff, of teams that are undefeated. I'm looking at them right now in our rundown. A short list of teams that have jumped out to undefeated starts. Surprises right now. Let's start with 2 teams from the Ambassador League, Arrowhead Christian and also Linfield Christian. Both teams undefeated to start the year. And in fact, Linfield Christian, Jeff, number 1 in Division 12 right now. This is a Linfield Christian team. If you watch closely enough, I think they're going to compete with Aquinas for that league title in the end.
I'll tell you what, and Aquinas has been very, very good to start the season. They've beat some great teams, but Linfield came out of nowhere. They've got a couple transfers that have been phenomenal, and I'm excited to see the Ambassador League get into play here in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And ACA is kind of that wild card because they lost their head coach right before the season started. Their quarterback from last year is now at Redlands High School. So there were some question marks, but they're 4-0 right now. So congrats to the ACA Eagles, Linfield Christian. Of course, you got to throw Aquinas into the mix. Another team that's 4-0, we needed to be talking about these guys a lot more, Jeff. San Jacinto. They are 4-0 coming off a big win against Murrieta Mesa.
Holy smokes. And I'll tell you what, they've surprised everybody. They're out there. Nobody talks about San Jacinto. It's hard to get to, but they are just like Norco, just like Yucaipa, they are a one-team town.
What I love about San Jacinto is they've got lots of dairies, and that's where I grew up. I mean, I grew up working on a dairy, so I feel right at home when I go out to San Jacinto. So I love the Tigers. And then we saw the CIF Southern Section rankings. They came out on Monday afternoon. The number 1 team in their division, which I believe is 7, San Jacinto, number 1 right now.
Hey, and I'll tell you what, they've got a great game coming up this week. We're going to talk about here in a minute. They've had NFL players come out of there.
They have, yeah. It's a hotbed for football.
Coach Powell was there for a long time. Now he's over at Riverside Poly, and they just seem to get better and better and better.
And we talk about San Jacinto being the number 1 team in that division. We've talked about this before, that the Mountain Pass League is going to be really fun to watch this season. I'm sure we're going to say this over and over like a broken record as we go forward through the high school football season here. But, Jeff Steinberg at Beaumont. San Jacinto clearly is a very good team, but the team to beat is still Citrus Hill. The team that San Jacinto is going to play this upcoming week, Jeff, you just touched on it, is Temecula Valley. They're also undefeated right now with Bert Esposito.
Hey, let's talk about this. We're talking about a program that had 2 wins bookended between 23 months. That's nearly 2 years. Bert Esposito, I'll tell you what, Paloma Valley had him. They let him go, and he is doing wonders there. 3-0. They just upset a very, very talented Norte Vista team, minus their running back. But I'll tell you, Bert Esposito has them going in the right direction.
Another team from out of the Southwestern League, Chaparral. They're 4-0. The Pumas off to a hot start there. We got Eisenhower at 4-0. A lot of teams keep an eye on Eisenhower as we go to the San Andreas League. I know San G's won 5 SAL titles in a row, but Eisenhower might make a run at San Gorgonio there. Also in the SAL, Harupa Hills 3-0. Tockwitz 4-0. Whatever's going on that way, Tockwitz, San Jacinto, good football.
There is football being played throughout the entire Murrieta, Temecula Valley, Hemet region. It's incredible right now.
All right, now let's go through some of the big matchups coming up in week 4 of the high school football season. Let's start with Redlands East Valley taking on Norco, and Rev coming off a huge win, Jeff, this past Friday against Heritage. Rev against Heritage. It was 12-6 the final score. We think the world of Coach Broach and Heritage, also of Lunsford and Rev. That was like 2 heavyweights coming together.
Hey, if it ain't Broach, that's what we always say. But here's the kicker. I talked to Coach Lunsford Friday night really late. He was pretty fired up. They actually beat Heritage at Heritage. He said their defense is phenomenal, but they're lacking their offense, and he's hoping by league that they can turn it around.
The game was at RHS, but that's okay.
Oh, was?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
But it was still a big win for Redlands East Valley. A signature win early on for Coach Lunsford there against the Patriots. So we got a little bit of video of that one, too. It was 12-6. When you think of low-scoring defensive battles, field position, whatnot, you always want to give the nod to Heritage because that kind of falls into their lap. So kudos to Lunsford and the Wildcats for kind of beating Heritage at their own game. Now Rev gets Norco. These are 2 huge games, Jeff, back-to-back for Redlands East Valley. You see Heritage, now you go play Norco. That's 2 huge weeks in a row.
And we're talking about offensive lines, the best possibly in Southern California. It's been years and years and years. You always talk about Norco. You always talk about Rev. Those are the power. It's going to be the game will be won on the line of scrimmage.
That's an unbelievable game. That right there was the game-winning touchdown for Redlands East Valley. Heritage would get the football back, as you could see on the scoreboard, with less than 5 minutes to play, but an interception here at the end by the Wildcats would seal it. So what a fantastic game. 2 programs, Jeff, that we are fired up about. We love Rev and Heritage. They make the IE so proud because of the brand of football they play, and their coaches are so great too, and their staffs. But now Redlands East Valley, they're going to play Norco. Heritage gets Orange Lutheran. So both those teams, man, 2 huge games again.
Yeah, you know, Coach Chastain, Coach Lunsford, that's going to be a matchup of the minds. Those guys adjust so well, more so than I think than any other coaches in the Inland Empire.
And also, Heritage and Rev, just worth noting, they're both Division II. So I know, listen, the playoffs are a long ways away, Jeff, but we might see this again.
They could do it. They could meet again.
We could see them in the playoffs again if everything kind of worked out that way. The CIF Southern Section rankings came out. Not the Inland Sports rankings, which we'll get to in a second, but the CIF Southern Section rankings came out. Heritage no longer in the top 10 in Division II, but Rev is. That catapulted the Wildcats back into the top 10.
Yeah, and if you talked about Rev, you know, being this good this early with a new coach, new system, a lot of people might have laughed and scoffed about it. But we saw what he did at Arlington. He turned that program around, and he's going to do the same over at Rev.
How about a team that you just saw? And, you know, we talked about off the top of the show because we love surprises. The teams that are surprisingly very good and undefeated. This team's not undefeated, but they're close. It's 3-1 Ramona. The Rams off to a great start. Another rivalry game this week against Poly. Rams coming off a big win against Arlington this past week.
You know, I might be a little leaning towards the Rams, being that I'm an alumni, but I will say this. Coach Mashinsky has the Rams playing at a high level. They play as hard as you can possibly play from start to finish. If they miss a tackle, another guy is there. They're athletic at their skill positions. They've got a great running back in Roby, who is about 5'5", no joke, 135 pounds, and he's darn near impossible to tackle. The Rams are on the upswing, and I think they right now are the favorites in the River Valley League.
Yeah, here's some video highlights of their big win against Arlington. Now, I have not seen Ramona with my own eyeballs this season, but I did see Arlington. Arlington's pretty good. They might be the best winless team we have in the Inland Empire. That's a pretty good team. They've just played some other good opponents. But so for Ramona to blow them out, kind of going away, I think that kind of speaks volumes of the Rams. They were, again, kind of a wild card, kind of a question mark. What were they going to have this year? And the fact that they beat Arlington so decisively, I feel like, man, Ramona might be challenging again for that River Valley League championship, like you touched on,
I'll
Jeff.
tell you what, Arlington has a very, very good quarterback in Lueta, very good player, but he was on his heels the entire game. That front line of Ramona and those 4 linebackers were in his grill the entire time, and that was the big difference, was defense first, and the great offensive by Ramona, we're watching right here, very athletic. More so than we've seen in the past few years.
Yeah, we're talking about rivalry week here. So Ramona had Arlington. Now Ramona has Riverside Poly this week. Those are back-to-back rivalry games by design. I mean, Coach Mashinsky at Ramona, he wants to play those other Riverside schools.
Yeah, in fact, we covered the Poly Martin Luther King game on Saturday night. Those teams are separated by 100 years. The oldest school in the Riverside Unified School District and the newest school. But I'll tell you what, the true rivalry is Riverside Poly versus Riverside Ramona, and that will be a very good game.
The Solar Series, right?
Yes.
The Solar Series. A couple other big games coming up this week in week number 4. Marietta Valley against Oaks Christian. So the Nighthawks got their first win of the season. Now they play Oaks Christian. They have some history with Oaks Christian, playing some really close games. Oaks Christian right now in Division I, one of the top-ranked teams. So Marietta Valley, you beat San Clemente, who's a former CIF champion. Now you get Oaks Christian. Jeff, we've talked on previous shows about the toughest non-league schedules in the Inland Empire. And you've got to throw Marietta Valley into the mix because you go from San Clemente to Oaks Christian, and there's no nights off for the Nighthawks.
No, and this is one chance that we're going to see Hank Bachmeyer, one of the best quarterbacks in the history of the state of California. Let's see if he can move into the top 3 passers of all time in the southern section. But like you said, they've played Cajon. They've played studs every single week. They're without the great player from last year, Marquis Spiker, who was the best receiver in the history of California.
Best all time, right?
All time.
He rewrote the record book in the state. We'll keep it in the Southwestern League in a matchup that we just briefly touched on. And, Jeff, I know you're excited about. It's Temecula Valley and San Jacinto as Bert Esposito tries to run his record to 4-0. San Jacinto and Coach Galliano trying to move to 5-0 on the season. Those are 2 undefeated teams, 2 teams that play in tough leagues. San Jacinto in the Mountain Pass, where you have Citrus Hill, and then Temecula Valley in the Southwestern League, where you have, you can go down the list, Marietta Valley, Vista Marietta, all those teams. So those are 2 sneaky good teams off to undefeated starts.
Well, I don't think it's pyrite, or we like to call it fool's gold. Talking to Coach Ken Batdorf of North Vista High School, he said that they went into Temecula Valley and they got worked. He said that the fans, he'd never seen a crowd like that. That was like the 12th man is what he said. But Bert Esposito has those guys confident, they're playing hard, and they're big.
Couple other good matchups real quick as we round out this segment. San Gorgonio is taking on Yucaipa. 2 teams trying to get back to their winning ways. San G suffering their first loss of the season this past week, and Yucaipa that overtime loss at Chaparral on the road. So both teams, 2 really good teams getting head-to-head. They have history too. They've met in the playoffs recently as well. And maybe the biggest game of the week, the Holy War, as Notre Dame and Aquinas will battle for the Holy Shield. Aaron Huerta has Notre Dame right now at 4-0. Aquinas at 3-1. Their only loss was that 7-2 game against St. Margaret's back in week 0. Jeff, anytime Aquinas and Notre Dame get together, it's a big, big deal. And both these teams are playing at a very high level right now.
I'll tell you what, I could not be more excited to cover this ball game. Last year they had St. Brandon Rankins, a great running back, had 2nd all-time in San Bernardino history, if I'm not mistaken.
He's number 1 in county history, number 2 all-time in the Inland Empire.
That's pretty incredible. But I'll tell you, Notre Dame has some studs. They've got Ashton Otherman. He's a 4-year starter at wide receiver, and Rodney Koenig, who's a 3-year player. They're pretty good. They're a pretty good 1-2 punch.
I think that what to watch here in this one is Notre Dame's been scoring a lot of points, and that Aquinas defense is what they're going to hang their hat on all season long. They've got 2 shutouts already this year. They probably could have 3. So that Aquinas defense is very good. They've only given up 17 points in 4 games thus far. So Friday night, it's the Holy War. Notre Dame at Aquinas. It's the scheduled Riverside TV game of the week. So Jeff and Ghazal Hassan will have the call on that one. We had a chance to catch up with the head coach of Notre Dame, Aaron Huerta, and he talked about his very first Holy War this Friday.
Your First time heading over to Aquinas for the big Holy War, for the Holy Shield here. Are you excited just to get your first taste of this rivalry?
I am. This is what I love about high school football the most is rivalry games. The community comes out, the fans, the kids, the school, the teachers love it. They love it. So this is going to be a fun matchup on Friday night.
You guys are 4-0. I mean, it's from the outside looking in, it looks like, man, things are great at Notre Dame, but things are going to get tougher real fast for you.
They're going to get tough real quick. Valley View, Paloma Valley, we've got Arlington, and we've got a great, Elsinore and Temescal Canyon. From here on out, it's tough. It's every week's going to be a battle.
What have you guys done well through these first 4 games to get you to this undefeated start?
Played together, played hard together. We've been in some tough games, and we've figured out that we can't do it alone. We got to do it as a team. We got to fight together. We got to depend on one another to play ball together.
All right, so that was Aaron Huerta, the first-year head coach at Notre Dame. In fact, Jeff, you just told me during the soundbite, because I know Coach Huerta is a world history teacher, but maybe that wasn't his first choice?
No, he wanted to be a sports broadcaster.
He did?
Yeah, he majored in media, some sort of media, and when I met him the first time that Notre Dame played on Riverside TV, he was like, yeah, I want to do what you want to do. And I said, hey, I don't want to do what you do. That's too darn hard. But yeah, he definitely has the looks of a media guy, and he's got charm, charisma to be a great head coach.
Good-looking guy.
Yeah, very good-looking
We'll get him
guy.
in studio here, I think, right? Real quick, let's take a look at our high school football rankings. We call them the Great 8 and 4 more here on the Inland Sports TV show. Jeff, we still have Centennial at number 1. They're probably going to be number 1 until the bitter end, right?
You're darn right. I mean, they have a chance to, honest to goodness, become a national champion if they continue to win.
If they can get past Mater Dei or Bosco, we'll see. That's a long way down the road. That'll be deep in November, going into December when we get to the CIF Southern Section Division I semifinals. But Centennial 4-0, Cajon 3-0. The Rancho Verde comes in at number 3 at 3-0. See, a lot of those teams lumped in the middle, they're Division II. So Rancho Verde's 2, Norco's 2, Rev is 2, Heritage is 2, Citrus Hill is Division II. You see all those schools, those are all potential playoff teams and matchups brewing out there later in the season. So just keep that in mind. Cajon's Division III. Santiago is also Division III. So just bear in mind, there could be a Santiago-Cajon matchup somewhere down the line.
And we're starting to see a little bit of separation. We talked earlier in the beginning of the season, and people were getting on us. Hey, we should be here. We should be there. But now we're starting to see separation.
All right, and you saw our 4 more as well. There's a couple teams that are knocking on the door. We don't have a bubble list, but if we had a bubble list, I think let's see. I think San Jacinto should be right there, right?
Oh, yes, definitely.
I think San Jacinto should be right there. I'm curious to see Linfield Christian and Eisenhower. I want to see a little bit more from them because a lot of these games, they've been blowouts. I want to see them play a team of substance and see what they do. Like, I want to see Linfield play Aquinas. I want to see Eisenhower play San G.
Yeah, those are good games.
See those sorts of things. So, all right, in our Inland Sports radio game this week is Norte Vista against Corona. Let's punch up that graphic. It's got all the details where you can find the game. Cullen Holt, Tim Hatch will have the call live on the Inland Sports channel. Ken Batdorf versus Ron Geringer, Corona and Norte Vista. Listen to it live.
Remember, both of those guys are part of the Geringer coaching tree. Remember, it was Coach Logan was part of that coaching tree. Ken Batdorf was part of that tree under Coach Geringer. Hey, they've got a brand new field at Corona. They are on the upswing, but I'll tell you what, Norte Vista, when Ken Batdorf has been there 25 years, you can never count him out, but they're going to be without Malesio this week. 2 weeks in a row without their running back. They're going to be running back by committee. They had 95 yards from a freshman this year, the younger brother of Freddie Holly.
And we're going to talk about Freddie Holly later in the show. He's off to a great start playing college football. I forget how old Ken Batdorf is. I forget he was at Centennial. That was a long time ago.
He has been at Norte Vista for a quarter of a century.
It's a long time.
That's ridiculous. He's going to be fossilized there.
I think outside of Matt Logan, he's probably the longest tenured coach in the IE, right?
He is the longest tenured coach
in the IE. Yes, specifically.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.
All right, we come back. Basketball star Torrey San Antonio is going to join us live in studio, the pride of the Rancho Verde High School, right here on the Inland Sports TV show. We'll be right back.
This is Kenny Clark from the Green Bay Packers, and you're watching the Inland Sports Show.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick,
quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You're going to save thousands of dollars at Catalano Motors. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
Focus on the customer here. Believe it or not, that is the biggest thing for customers on an oil change. They just want the convenience of coming in, driving in, getting it done, and driving out. We just greet them, get them going, and they're done in about 10 minutes or so. We don't push any sales on them. We do the oil change, and I think that's what sets us apart is our customer service. Vacuumed and cleaned your windshield for you as well. Everything's looking pretty good. Come into us one time, believe me, we'll spoil you and you'll be ready to come back the next time.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports TV show here. We got Torrey San Antonio in our hot seat inside the studio. Torrey San Antonio, obviously a big-time basketball player at Rancho Verde High School, plays for the Puerto Rican national team, the under-17s, right?
Yeah.
So, Torrey, you played, was it called the FIBA World Cup?
Yeah, the FIBA World Cup.
And you won the bronze medal, huh?
Yeah.
So do you have your own bronze medal somewhere?
Yeah, it's at home right now.
Where is it right now?
My dad's going to hang it up in his, like in a trophy case with a jersey and my shorts from the Puerto Rico team.
So Torrey San Antonio obviously getting some international experience, but we know him from playing locally here at the Rancho Verde High School. Torrey, we were talking off camera about the Ivy League coming up because it's basically all the heavy hitters with Rancho Verde, Riverside Poly, JW North. Now you bring in Notre Dame. We're excited about this league. Are you excited about it?
Yeah, it's something new. It's like they haven't done this, I don't think, ever. So, we're about to play some new teams, new competition. It's going to be cool. It's going to be great.
How's Coach Baker doing? Is he fired up for this upcoming year?
I think so.
Let's go back to your international experience. You guys won the bronze medal. You played for Puerto Rico. So your mom, your dad, which side of the family?
My dad's side of the family, and his whole family lives in Puerto Rico.
So what was that like for your dad, yourself as well, but what was it like for your dad and his side of the family seeing you represent the country like that?
Oh man, they were happy. It was they were just kept talking about how I was in the newspapers over there, all over the place over there, and everybody was talking about me, asking where I was. But,
were you a big deal over there? Did they send you newspaper clippings and whatnot?
Yeah, they did. I was in every newspaper, every picture.
I Googled your name. I went on YouTube actually and searched your name and was like, hey, is Torrey San Antonio out there? Is there video highlights of the FIBA World Cup? Of course, your name popped up everywhere. You had 30 points in the quarterfinal game against Montenegro. What was it like playing in that game and just going off on them like that?
Oh man, that was just a whole different atmosphere. It was just crazy. It was the way I prepared for it was kind of weird. I watched the same video
what video was it?
It was a Dragon Ball Z episode.
Dragon Ball Z?
And then I listened to the same song 5 times.
And that's what got you in the. So now I know if you got a big game against Riverside Poly that night or Notre Dame, you're going to be watching that Dragon Ball Z episode,
likely,
the same one. So you guys take the bronze medal. It was the FIBA Under-17 World Cup. Was that in Argentina?
Yeah, Argentina.
Was that your first time out of the country?
not really out of the country, but going to Argentina, yeah.
What was that experience like, going to somewhere new and, seeing new things, meeting new people, and obviously going down there and winning a bronze medal?
Well, I mean, when we first got there, it was kind of weird. It was like I had never seen anything like this. Like the way their city is set up, it's like, or their country is set up. It kind of looks like New Mexico. And it's as dry as this desert. And then actually getting to the hotel, getting ready to play, it was awesome.
Now, did you play Team USA? Did you run into them? 'Cause I know.
Yeah, we did. We scrimmaged them.
So who did you play in the bronze medal game? It was Canada, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and you beat Canada?
Yeah.
What was that like, knowing that you were helping put Puerto Rico on the map in terms of just having good basketball players? People are like, oh man, Puerto Rico, they can ball out.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like, I don't even know. It was like words can't even explain it. It was a great feeling.
Were your family or friends, anyone able to make the trip over there and watch it?
No, they just watched back home, but after every game they would text me and like tell me I did good and everything.
So you averaged 13 points. I got all the stats right here. 13 points, 5 rebounds, nearly 3 steals per game. Were you in the starting lineup every game? I mean, no?
I didn't start not one time.
You didn't start one time? And you're putting up numbers like that?
Yeah.
So you score 30 on Montenegro. Is the coach like, hey, man, maybe we should have been playing you more? So you get that experience, Torrey. So we know you're going to sign a scholarship somewhere. You're only a junior, right?
I'm a senior.
Going into your senior year now? So coming out of your junior year, I mean, as you look at potential colleges, what's important to you? Are you, would you prefer to stay on the West Coast? Do you want to get away from home? Do you want to play in the Pac-12? I mean, what's important to you?
It doesn't really matter where I go. It's just like where I have the opportunity to show what I can do. No matter what school, little school, big school, doesn't matter as long as I can get on the court and show how I'm effective.
So if I asked you right now, what position do you play? What would you say?
Point guard, shooting guard. Mostly shooting guard. I like shooting guard better than point guard.
Because I think even at Rent, did you play some forward too?
Yeah, I
you
did.
played some forward, right?
I did play forward last year.
Because I know in basketball right now, it's very popular to be what they call like positionless, right? You're able to do a lot of things. Do you take pride in that? Like if you need to handle the ball, you can handle it. If you need to shoot, you can shoot. If you need to maybe post someone up, you can do that too.
Yeah.
Here's some video highlights. I think that was the Montenegro game, right?
Yeah, that was.
Look at you throwing it down. There's a steal. That's one of your nearly 3 steals per game, dishing it off. I mean, when you had did you ever have a game like that at Rancho Verde? Was this like maybe the best game you've ever had?
Well, I mean, yeah, because the atmosphere was different. It was like against like other people against around the world. It wasn't just in high school. So, but I did have a couple 30-point games in high school.
¿Tú hablas español? Un poco?
Un poco.
Did your teammates speak Spanish on the floor a little bit?
Yeah.
And your coach as well?
Yeah, he spoke Spanish.
Now, did most of your teammates, did they live in Puerto Rico, or did some of them come from the States as well?
Most of them lived in Puerto Rico, but they go to school in Florida.
Okay.
And one of my guys named Philip Wheeler, he lives in New Jersey, and that was who I was really hanging out with the whole time out there. Yeah.
So when you're down there, obviously you're eating the food down there in Argentina, you're seeing new things, trying new things and whatnot. Was game day or just the routine differently than what you would do normally getting ready for an Inland Valley League game up here?
Oh yeah, it for sure was different. We would eat like 4 times before the game. I usually don't do that. I only eat like 1 time before the game. But we would eat like 4 times before the game, go to get to the gym like 2 hours early, then have like an hour to like warm up. So,
did they treat you like a king down there? Was it a good experience?
No, it was a good experience. They always had food ready for us, and that was amazing.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
How did you find out you were on the team? Was there a tryout process? Did you have to go somewhere?
During spring, I went down there and I worked out with the coach for a little bit, for like a week. Then I came back and he told me I made the team. Well, he told my dad, and then my dad told me.
And for your dad, I mean, obviously that moment, that phone call or whatever that was, that conversation was probably, pretty exciting for him, right?
Yeah, probably a big deal.
Did he try to steer you towards another sport like baseball or something like that, or have you always been a baseball guy or a basketball guy?
No, I used to play baseball and football when I was younger. I got into basketball when I got into 5th and 6th grade, and then I just kept playing since.
Coach Duffy's probably like, there's still time. We can still put you in some helmet and pads out there and have you run around on the football field as well. Torrey, as you go into your final season here at the high school level, and we talked about how competitive the Ivy League is going to be this year with so many great teams. You were part of that Rancho Verde team that won a CIF championship, not this past season, but the year prior to that. What's kind of your goals for the Mustangs this year as you go into your senior year now?
I mean, a CIF championship would be cool, but I'm trying to go to state. I'm trying to take the whole thing. I want to go out with the bang.
What do you think of this year's team? Do you feel like obviously there's good coaching. Do you feel like there's enough talent there? You guys can put something together?
Yeah, we all have experience too because we have 9 varsity returners. So we all have experience, and 4 of us were on the CIF team. 3 of us were starters, and now we're all returning, and you just got to wait for Jack to get out of football.
I know, because last year they played like deep into December.
Yeah.
That SoCal Regional Bowl game, so they were playing late into the year.
Yeah, they played we were 3 tournaments in, and he just got back.
Yeah, from football into basketball, it's like nonstop at Rancho Verde. You guys are good. You guys are good at everything with the Mustangs. What do you remember about that CIF championship team? Maybe the way the team came together. Maybe it was the preparation. Maybe it was the players. But do you think there's any similarities from what you remember from that CIF championship team to the team that you're going to have this year?
I mean, we were always we weren't the team everybody was looking at. We were just the underdogs. So I mean, we're no one really looking at us right now. They're looking at the bigger schools like Rancho Christian, Centennial and all that. So I mean, we're the underdogs again, and we kind of like it at Rancho like that.
Speaking of underdogs, because I remember Johnny Kennedy, he didn't even play in the he broke his hand, didn't he?
Yeah, he missed the whole season. He didn't play 1 game in the league, and.
Yeah, everyone's like, Johnny's great, which he is great.
Yeah.
But it's then he got hurt, and it's like, oh man, well, did the Mustangs have enough to go all the way? And you guys sure did. So.
Yeah.
So we'll have to keep an eye on the Rancho Verde going for not only a league title in the new Ivy League in the Rain Cross Conference, but of course a CIF title. And you heard from Torrey. I mean, these guys are good. A lot of experience coming back to maybe make a run at that state championship as well. Hey, Torrey, one more thing. I'm just curious. When do you report back to the national team for Puerto Rico again? Is there any more other tournaments in the future?
Yeah, I think they're going to go to the World Cup again next year. So I'm going to be there most likely. Maybe.
Hopefully, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, you dropped 30 on Montenegro, man. It had to get somebody's attention out there, right? You deserve to be there and helping Puerto Rico win the bronze medal at the FIBA Under-17 World Cup. Torrey, good seeing you, man. I appreciate you coming down. I really do. We'll be back on the Inland Sports TV show. We'll talk a little SBVC football, University of Redlands football, and Quakes baseball right around the corner. We'll be right back.
This is Sharice Wright, cornerback for the Oakland Raiders, Raider Nation. Colton, I got you.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You're going to save thousands of dollars at Catalano Motors. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
I played once upon a time at Centennial High School. I was actually on the first ever CIF championship team back in 2000, and then my senior year we won it again. I'd say that's my passion because I've done it. I know exactly where these athletes are at. I know what their mindset is right now. I know how hard it is to, number one, find a performance coach who can take you to the next level. What sets us apart has to be, how we work with our athletes and what we know. We can take an athlete and help them reach their athletic potential, help them, prevent injuries, help get them stronger. I know every single athlete who steps into this gym. I know exactly where they're at, and I'm going to progress them every week. If you're not getting results, then really what's it about? We're going to deliver something that's measurable, in terms of speed, power, strength, agility.
We're small, family-owned, strive for quality pre-owned vehicles. We're not a volume dealer, and we take every deal as personal to us. We're a low-stress environment. We're not a pressure sales house. If you want to shop us, you're more than welcome to shop us. We have, like I said, great rates, competitive financing, a lot of one-owner, clean Carfax, clean title vehicles. As you see, we have Carfax everywhere. That's most important to us, to educate our customers before they make a purchase. We're right off of Ontario, right off a couple exits off the 15 freeway, off Cajalco, off El Cerrito, and we're right on the main drag going into Dos Logos and the crossings. We have great financing, we have great lenders that we're using. We do buy, sell, trade, cash for your car. Whatever we need to do to help accommodate the customer, that's what we're here for. We have a little bit of everything. We start at about $69.95 and go all the way up to $100,000. We have Escalades, we have commuters, we have pickup trucks, we have Jeeps, sport utilities, and if we don't have it, our specialty is finding you exactly what you're looking for.
This is Centennial High School football coach Matt Logan. You're watching the Inland Sports Show.
That was Matt Logan, the Sith Lord of the evil empire at Centennial High School.
He's evil, but I'll tell you what, the Death Star is firing on all cylinders so far for Centennial.
They always have these tough non-league schedules, and we're like, man, if Centennial comes out 3-2, maybe, hey, listen, they're playing Valley View on Friday. We love Valley View, but Centennial's going to be 5-0 as we go into Big 8 league play. So always cool to have Matt Logan on here. We're talking college football right now. This rivalry game, Jeff, is almost a century old. We're talking about San Bernardino Valley College and RCC. It goes way back, and they're finally renewing this rivalry on Saturday night. RCC had a close game over the weekend. They lost to the defending state champion.
Yeah.
SBVC's 2-0. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to like this matchup this year.
Well, it's going to be a great matchup. You just mentioned RCC lost to the defending state champion by 1 point. It was 34-33. The quarterback for RCC, Stone Smart. Is that not the best name of a quarterback?
Stone Smart. He's tough yet intelligent, right?
he's averaging almost 240 yards a game through the air, but they're going with a two-quarterback system. When they're on the goal line stance, they bring back the quarterback that was their starter last year.
Vic Viramontes?
Vic Viramontes is the quarterback in short yardage situations.
Because he's just a great athlete. I mean, he's built like a linebacker.
And he's playing linebacker for the most part. Did you know he switched over to the defensive side of the ball?
I have a hard time keeping up with him because he went to Cal as a quarterback, then came back, and then he went to Minnesota.
And then
came back to RCC, and now he's a linebacker?
He is a linebacker playing defense in a short yardage situation. They bring him back in at quarterback.
And for SBVC, they're 2-0. They're kind of like the cardiac kids. They always seem to get it done in the second half, and in the fourth quarter, they beat Santa Ana College in their season opener. Then last Saturday, they went on the road. They beat Santa Barbara City, outscoring the Vaqueros 25-0 in the second half. So they're 2-0, playing great defense in the second half. Daniel Algadas has them humming at this point. Cullen Holt is standing by. He's got more on this matchup with SBVC and RCC, and it's going to be a good one. Cullen?
Yeah, a few rivalries in the Inland Empire run deep. Side versus San Bernardino. It'll be renewed on Saturday at 6 p.m. live on IEMG as San Bernardino Valley College and RCC go head-to-head. And the Wolverines of SBVC are road-tested. A couple of comeback wins to put them 2-0. And we caught up with Daniel Algadas earlier this week ahead of a huge matchup against the Tigers.
I think our scrimmage against Mount Stack was the measuring stick. We have a pretty good idea where we are, so just with anybody else that's on Riverside's schedule, we're going to give them the best we have. We're here to win games. We're not here to see where we're at. I think we know where we're at, and it's another game on our schedule as well. I think adjustments are a little bit of it, but as we had spoken about earlier, just kind of learning the team with it being over 90% freshmen. Just kind of learning how they're reacting to different things, to different coaching techniques, to different game plans, to different opponents, to traveling on the road 3 hours or 2.5 hours and hitting traffic and being late for different places. So I think it's just kind of a lot of those things. A lot of it is youth. Again, with the coaching staff being pretty new together, I think we're working a lot of those things out. But the way that the team responds, and they always find a way to win. They're so positive. It's a great sideline. It's a great team to be a part of. So I think that big family atmosphere that we were really going for is really starting to pay off already in year 2. RCC always travels well, and we're only 15 minutes apart from each other. I've played them when we're at 2 other schools, and when you get 2 teams that are playing well, it's always going to be a good atmosphere.
Well, what a way to open up year 2 at that beautiful stadium out of Valley College. Death Valley, as they call it. RCC versus SBVC on IEMG, 6 p.m. Pep Fernandez will have the call. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Colin. Daniel Algatis, not only is he a magician and a master of the Rubik's Cube.
He is, that's right.
He's also very funny. We caught up with him and said, hey, Coach, we want to talk about your game this Saturday. He's like, great. He's like, let me get my schedule, see who we're playing this week. He knows full well who they're playing this week. This is a huge game against RCC.
In fact, I think the moment that they finalized that game, I think he texted you and said, hey, we're playing RCC. And that's been on everybody's mind since that big proclamation.
There's a little bit of Sean McVay in Coach Algatis, and that he wants to play anyone, anywhere, kind of like those old Pat Hill Fresno State football teams. Hey, we don't care who you are. We'll play you. Just tell us when and where. We'll be there. He's kind of got that mentality. RCC is one of the top teams in the state. Make no bones about it.
They are 3rd right now in the rankings.
Are they in the state of California? SBVC feels like they've got enough talent and obviously a great coaching staff, which has been revamped, and they're 2-0. They feel like they need to play teams like RCC to, kind of gauge where they're at. Now, if you ask Coach Algatis, he knows exactly where they're at. But for the rest of the IE and the college football community, they want to say, hey, has SBVC, are they legit? Is this team a team that we need to be keeping eyes on across the state of California? And this is their shot. They could really make some waves if they can beat RCC on Saturday night. And the Tigers, again, year in and year out, Tom Kraft has them at the top of the heap in California. When you talk about state championships in the state of California, you've got to include RCC in that conversation. I know Fullerton's the defending champ, but like you pointed out, Jeff, RCC only lost to Fullerton by 1 last week. I mean, they're right there.
Yeah, in fact, they had an opportunity to win that game, and they, to knock off the defending state champ, and some say the national champion of the JC realm. But these are 2 coaches that know how to coach great quarterbacks. Daniel Algatis himself was a backup quarterback at UCLA.
That's right.
Came over from Mount Sac. He is a stud. Coach Kraft was a head coach at San Diego State University. These guys are big-time coaches, and it's going to be gunslinger and gunslinger. If you want to go watch a great game, you and Vinny Fazio are going to be on the call. That's going to be one of the best games in the entire state of California, and great for the Inland Empire.
We're hoping it breaks the internet. We want so many people watching that game, RCC and SBVC on Saturday night at 6 o'clock on IEMG TV and the IE Media Group YouTube channel. Real quick, before we move on, a couple other stats from this big rivalry game between RCC and SBVC. It goes back to 1926, so again, almost a century old, almost 100 years. The last time they met, Jeff, was 2011, and RCC won in a blowout. I mean, but a lot has changed in 7 years.
Hey, and I'll tell you what, things change when you get a brand new stadium. You bring in guys that are local. Back in the day, San Bernardino Valley and Riverside City College used to bring guys in from out of state, basically from New York City, New Jersey. That's why the game at that time was different. Now San Bernardino Valley has local guys, local dudes, great players, all CIF players, and they can match up well with this RCC team.
SBVC last one in 1996. And quarterback Armando Herrera from Redlands East Valley back under center. And I just use that term loosely because Coach Algadas really doesn't have his quarterback under center, but he is playing quarterback for the Wolverines. And one more thing on this matchup, it's called the Bell Game because back in 1948, the Atchison, Topeka, Santa Fe Railway Company donated a 250-pound victory bell to the winner of this rivalry game. So now it's called the Bell Game. So if you're wondering, like, why do they call it the Bell Game? That's why. They're like, you know what? We're going to buy them a big bell, and we're going to give it to the winner.
Well, I assume that's probably where they got the rain cross from.
Or vice versa.
Yeah,
one of them, the cart before the horse, right? One of them came first. So it's a big game on Saturday night. And also congrats to the University of Redlands, off to a 2-0 start. They went up to the Pacific Northwest, and they beat Puget Sound this past weekend by a final score of 28-21. I believe we have a picture from up there. Shout out to Charles Blackburn. He had a son that played for the Bulldogs, really great receiver, and he's actually from out of the Pacific Northwest, so when the U of R goes up there, Charles goes out there. So Charles, we appreciate that picture right there. Bulldogs 2-0. The road trip continues. They have 3 consecutive road games right now. The next one is at Linfield, which is in Oregon, and then a little bit closer to home the following week at Pomona Pitzer. When we come back here on the Inland Sports TV show, we're going to do a little roundup, Jeff. We're going to get out our lasso. We're going to saddle up. We're going to do a roundup of local guys from the Inland Empire playing big-time Division I college football, doing really well right now.
Guys are really surprised, and they're starting to be on the national scope, and it's nice to see our guys doing so well.
So we'll talk college football. We'll also talk Quakes baseball. Rancho Cucamonga playing for a Cal League championship beginning tonight. I couldn't even get a hold of Jeff because he was talking to Mike Linskog, the voice of the Quakes, all day.
And Andrew Chappie Chapman, the 12-year-old boy who's the whiz kid of play-by-play.
They're on their way to Visalia right now.
They're driving together.
Didn't I, at the very beginning of the season, I was making fun of Visalia. I'm like, hey, do you like going to Visalia? I believe that's where they opened the year, wasn't it?
Yes, it is.
On the road at Visalia. Quakes baseball and college football when we come back on your favorite show, the Inland Sports TV show.
Hello, everybody. This is Mike Maynard, the head football coach at the University of Redlands, and you're watching the Inland Sports Show.
The Inland Sports Show is brought to you by Spoiled. Quick, quality oil change. Spoil yourself and your car at Spoiled. Kin Sporting Goods. They have all of your sporting gear needs, Letterman's jackets, and team uniforms. Catalano Motors in Corona off of Temescal Canyon Road. You're going to save thousands of dollars at Catalano Motors. And Boost Performance Training with Coach Ray Bass. Athletes of all levels and all sports are going to Boost Performance Training in Corona.
Thank God, first of all. I thank the great people that I've got around me that help support me, the people that work for me. As I started, if it wasn't for the people around me, we probably wouldn't be here right now, but I've got a great staff. I've got great people that do stuff for us outside the store, and we've been very, very fortunate. Our service is impeccable, and we just keep trying to get better every year. We can do online stuff for your teams, as well as, like I said, the screen printing, the embroidery. We also have 3 women that do extra sewing for us, like tackle tool on uniforms, or the bling or rhinestones for different shirts for the ladies. That's why we have certain racks just for certain schools, and the fun about that is that it turns into other schools that may come in here that aren't as close, that we can do stuff for them as well. We've had very, very good customers throughout the years, and it's just been a blast.
And welcome back to the Inland Sports TV show. We're doing our roundup. We're going to, saddle up. We're going to lasso up. We're going to do a roundup of all our local guys from the Inland Empire playing big-time college football. Jeff, we've got a bunch of them. And here's the thing. On Saturday, especially Saturday night, I don't have a favorite college football team, so I don't go check.
Come on.
I don't go. I used to be like a Michigan fan, like the Wolverines, but I don't go check for a specific score. I just go through all the teams where we know we have local guys to see how they did. That's how I do my college football.
And that's not a bad way to do it. Of course, I'm a big USC fan.
You are?
Yeah, I'm a big SC fan. UCLA not doing so well under the Chip Kelly rule, but they have a couple of.
But they
got a couple
of good players.
They got great
at least two
great Inland Empire guys playing for them.
Jalen Phillips, the pride of Redlands East Valley High School, defensive end, outside linebacker.
He's already got a sack and 10 tackles on the year.
Nate Metters out of San Gorgonio.
He's got 9 solo tackles.
They had a tough time at Oklahoma.
Yes, they did. They're gonna have a tough time. I think the entire season. It's going to take a while for Chip Kelly to get his dudes into the program.
How about your new favorite player at BYU? And you said, Pep, if there's one thing we do today, we have to do one thing. We got to talk about this guy, your new favorite player.
Sione Taki.
That's it?
Yeah, I love it. I was all excited. I say he's a heritage guy.
He's a heritage guy.
And there's a couple of heritage guys.
They also have Aleva Hifo, who's another big star.
I couldn't have said that one. I'm sorry.
Aleva Hifo and Sione Taki, and I believe they are related somehow, loosely related. So the Hifos and the Takis down there at Heritage.
Taki had 9 tackles versus Cal, had a very good game.
A couple other guys we want to point out. We mentioned Freddie Holly.
Oh, that's my guy.
From Norta Vista High School. He's been patiently waiting at the University of Hawaii. And I say patiently because it's paradise, right? He's just hanging out on the beach, waiting for his turn to be the starting running back. Now he's the starting running back at Hawaii. And Freddie Holly from Norta Vista High School has been tearing it up. In fact, Hawaii is 3-0 on the season, Jeff. Yeah. They're undefeated.
They're going back to the run and gun offense. And I'll tell you what, it's starting to pay dividends. And our guy, Freddie Holly, is the superstar of that Hawaii team right now.
He's great. He's big. He's strong. He's so fast. He's fun to watch. Another guy, and he plays for 17th ranked Boise State, Alexander Madison, the pride of Cardinal City, USA, San Bernardino High School. Alex could be an NFL guy, Jeff. He will be, but I'm saying after his junior season, he might leave Boise early. The Broncos have had this line of running backs who have big junior seasons and they end up going to the NFL early. So I think Alexander Madison could be that guy. Boise State off to a great start, number 17 in the nation. Madison had like 150 yards, 2 touchdowns against UConn in Boise State's home opener this past weekend. At New Mexico, and Elijah Lilly from Cajon High School is now at New Mexico. And what's interesting about Elijah Lilly is he went there returning kicks and playing defensive back. This year, they converted him to receiver, and he caught a touchdown at Wisconsin this past weekend.
A big time program, big time play.
I think Wisconsin's number 5 in the country right now.
They are.
So, and guess who threw him the football? Sharon Jones from the Rancho Verde High School.
Nice.
At New Mexico. In fact, I saw Sharon Jones. He was playing at Mount San Jacinto College this time last year.
That's right.
And now he's at New Mexico throwing touchdowns to Elijah Lilly from Cajon High School at Wisconsin, number 5 team in the nation. So that's pretty cool. Another guy that we love to talk about here on the show, and I saw this on social media. He was hanging out with his wife and his daughter. It's Blake Barnett, and he is enjoying a great start at South Florida right now.
He's getting his shot. He's been a lot of different places, but the guy, like you said, has a family now. He's relaxed, and I hope that he can continue to show his stuff. Remember, they were talking about him being a superstar, a potential lottery pick in the NFL draft years ago. Now he's finally getting to play.
Yeah, it's kind of been a long road. He verbally committed to Notre Dame. He signed with Alabama. He transferred to Arizona State. Now he's at South Florida and doing very, very well. And he was in that Josh Rosen class. They were comparing, those guys were kind of, similar in terms of, their projected outcome for an NFL career.
And didn't Josh Rosen throw his name out during the draft process?
He did. He brought up Blake Barnett, so maybe he had a chip on his shoulder. Everyone thought Blake Barnett was better. I still think he is. Blake Barnett is better. Okay, and finally, one other guy, and he's a grad transfer. I'm like, we got to follow Trey Watson from Centennial High School. He had a great year, a great career with the Cal Golden Bears, but he's a grad transfer at Texas, the Longhorns. And I think he scored last weekend, didn't he, for the Longhorns?
He scored and had 74 yards on the ground. So, in fact, he said on social media, he said he is the best running back in the nation. Take notice.
He said that?
He said
about himself?
Yes, he did.
I am the best.
That's exactly. Hey, you're a grad transfer. That means you've graduated from college.
He's got his degree.
Yeah,
He's fine.
but yes, he said he's the best there is.
He's on cloud 9 right now. And finally, let's wrap things up with a little baseball talk because we love the Rancho Cucamonga Quakes. Mike Lenskog, Andrew Chapman, the voices of the Quakes. We love those guys and their season just 1 week longer. Everyone else is at home, enjoying a little off season, but not Lenskog, not Chapman. The work continues for at least one more week as they start the Cal League Championship Series tonight on the road at Visalia. Time to punch up that fancy graphic because, Jeff, the Quakes might win another Cal League Championship beginning tonight, Game 1.
Hey, the last time they won was in 2015. This will be their third time if they win it. They won it in 1994. There was 21 years apart. Visalia has won it in 1978, but Visalia comes in as the wild card. They were 70-70 on the year. The Quakes played Visalia 9 times in the first month, but the Quakes came up short. They were out. The win total was 5-4 in favor of the Rawhide, but this is a completely different team now.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. And I guess you could compare Visalia to the Chicago Cubs or the Boston Red Sox of the Cal League. It's been 40 years.
Yeah.
And that's a long time since they've won a Cal League championship. For the Quakes, they're winning them all the time.
One quick side note. Tomorrow night, Dennis Santana, the reliever of the Dodgers, is making a rehab start in Game 2 of this championship series.
Wait, so you're telling me the Quakes have a Dodgers pitcher starting their minor league playoff game?
Yes, this Game 2.
For the Quakes.
For the Quakes, and he's going to pitch 1 to 2 innings to start the ball game.
How about that? The Dodgers are like, hey, go on down to the minors, help the Quakes win a championship. And you're for Visalia, you're like, come on, man, are you serious? The Dodgers sending a pitcher down to face us when it matters the most here? But good on the Quakes.
Yes, exactly.
All right, so Game 1 is tonight. Game 2 is Wednesday night up in Visalia, which is just south of Fresno. It's kind of a long road trip up there. And then Games 3, 4, and 5, if necessary, at Lone Mart Field in Rancho Cucamonga. So, and you said the last time a Cal League champion was crowned in Rancho Cuc, it was not the Quakes. And that was a Quakes team that had the great
Mike Trout. In fact, they lost to the San Jose Giants on that home field, so it'd be really nice to see the Quakes win a championship on their field this weekend. Make sure you go out and watch it.
I want to see Lenskog and Chapman just going nuts. They win the championship, they run onto the field, they're throwing them in the air.
Yeah, but the only thing is, you go in the locker room and you douse each other with champagne, but you can't let Chappy Chap is not allowed in there.
How old is he? Is he 13 or 14?
He's about 13 or 14. He won't be able to go into the locker room. They'll have to throw some apple cider on him.
Sparkling apple cider.
Yep.
That's what I prefer anyways. If you'd like to advertise or sponsor the Inland Sports Show, shoot us an email, inlandsportshow@gmail.com. And again, Thursday night, Corona versus Norte Vista. Live radio on the Inland Sports Channel right here. We love high school football. It's going to be live on Thursday night. And then on Friday night, Jeff, you've got the Holy War, Aquinas, and Notre Dame on Riverside TV, and I'll be on IMG TV. 11 o'clock to midnight, all your football scores, highlights, analysis, all the good stuff.
I'm excited. It's going to be one of the games. I haven't seen a Holy War, and we're going to go across town. We're going to be in San Bernardino. We're going to be at Aquinas.
Hostile territory, man. The Falcons, that's a tough place to play.
I can't wait. I'm excited. This is the game I've looked forward to all season.
Big thanks to everyone here at Valverde's Teen Vision TV 16. Johnny boy, you're the man. And we'll see you again next week, 3 o'clock, as we went over at the top of the show, about 3 p.m. on your favorite show, the Inland Sports TV show. See you next time.